Welcome to Unity Center of Peace Social Justice Sunday. Right here, right now, is the kickoff of the National Unity Social Justice Ministry, and its nest, its home base, is right here at Unity Center of Peace, thanks to Victoria and this whole community. Let's give ourselves a hand. Yay! And this is a social justice minister's shawl, is that what you call them, Victoria? That Susan Witt engineered or took on as a project from the We've Got Your Back team, with Dolores and the team being okay, as I said goodbye to that team and went on to start the social justice ministry. So let's give Susie and that team a hand. And isn't this beautiful? First time I've worn it officially. Okay. Our team has been diligently planting our ministry for 16 months, meeting every 3 weeks for 2 hours at a time. And now it's the kickoff for harvesting and feasting and unrolling this ministry. That song that that Bright Matter just played, it's one of those high lonesome songs that Brene Brown spoke about. And in the book that we're studying over the next several weeks, it's in chapter 3 of Braving the Wilderness, and the title of that chapter is The High Lonesome. Brene said that those high lonesome hollers are loud, high-pitched, bone-chilling hollers of pain and freedom that cut through the air like a blare of a siren. We heard it a lot from veterans returning from World War I. The sound is full of both misery and redemption, and they're usually uttered in a time of deep spiritual crisis. When I was called to a ministry in social justice 3 years ago, which was also my 3rd year in seminary, I never dreamed that this ministry would be launched at a time that our country is in the midst of a spiritual crisis. That many groups and many of us as individuals would be feeling that high, lonesome, oh God, in response to that crisis. What is spirituality? We're talking about a spiritual crisis. Let's see what spirituality really means. Brown defines spirituality in this way. Spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us. And that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. That fits with our unity principles that say there is only one divine presence, all good. And I will add, by whatever name that presence is called. It might be Buddha or Mohammed or Confucius or universe or Holy Spirit or divine or refrigerator. And that we are all created in the image of that, and therefore each of us is divine. And in that place of the divine one, we are one. Can't escape the connection. We are one with each other. So our love for God and neighbor must involve social justice. The founders of America, some of them were Protestants, some Catholic, there was one Catholic and some deists, who are people that believe in a supreme being who created the universe. And some were atheists. Whether they were religious or not, these founders were guided by deep spiritual principles. Many people who have studied them were saying that something inspired them, something divine and good inspired them. The famous, I'm going to switch a minute to unity, Eric Butterworth. You'll see how this weaves together. He said that the divine inside of us and outside of us has no greater pleasure than when we affirm or request to know the joy of the divine. The divine wants us to be joyful. Now, let's go back to our founders of our country. The Declaration of Independence says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator." So right there, they said, God has endowed us with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among people, deriving their powers from the consent of the government, from the consent of the people. Which brings me to a word that some people these days think is a dirty word, or a non-spiritual word, or a no-no in unity, and that word is politics. Now, I'm not talking about partisanship, and some of the reasons people shy away from the word politics is because they sometimes conflate partisanship with politics, which is not something that we support in our social justice ministry. Because here in our beloved UCP community are members of different parties, of different political persuasions. And the last thing in the world that we want to do is to engage in partisanship with each other here or out in the world. Partisanship is where we see the world from the perspective of good, bad, us, them, evil, good. One metaphysical interpretation of the creation story where God tells Adam and Eve, "Do not eat of the tree of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." God said, if you want to stay connected with me, do not eat into the tree that makes you think about good and evil, that gives you duality thought. And when that happened, we kind of fell away in some ways to our connection with God, and we're working our way back there. Do you know that partisanship is higher in this country right now than at any other time in American history except pre- and post-Civil War? That's just, it almost brings tears to my eyes. So we do not support partisanship. I'm going to talk about politics. The Greek root of the word politics is politeia, and it means of the people, for the people. What's the matter with that? This definition jives with the Declaration of Independence. Again, I'm going to say it. Governments are instituted among people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, from the consent of the people. And it jives with spirituality because Jesus' words about living a spiritual life were, love the Lord thy God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment than these. Other faiths share that commandment. In Judaism, in Leviticus, it says, love your neighbor as yourself. I am God. In Islam, the Quran instructs followers to show kindness to kin, orphans, the needy, and neighbors, both those who are friends and those who are strangers. Hindu teachings often reflect the Golden Rule. And Buddhism emphasizes compassion and non-harm, summarized as not treating people in ways that we would find hurtful. These texts emphasize the love for God and that it's demonstrated in our actions towards each other. Once again, we go back to that beginning of Micah 6:8. What does the divine, Holy Spirit, whatever, desire of us but to do justice? Do justice. Action among each other. Politics is another word for how we treat our neighbors and how we love our neighbors. Our Constitution says that all of us are created equal. Our unity spirituality says that we're all divine. Politics and our Declaration of Independence and our unity beliefs and our Constitution represent a sacred covenant with each other. It says that we're all related. It's a sacred covenant about relationship. To share with each other, to help one another, and to do the right thing, for God's sake, to do the right thing. Because underneath all of this is a deep morality, and underneath all of this is love. It's about loving our neighbor. It's about our relationship with one another. Any organization that oppresses and or tyrannizes others is not loving God and is not loving our neighbor. This covenant is expressed through political action. It gave rise to the abolition of slavery. It gave rise to the women's movement and the civil rights movement, to name a few. Now, before you get worried that our Unity Social Justice Ministry will be political in a way that is working for one party over another, we are not. Just want to reassure you. I just had to get those vectors of the perspective of spirituality, politics, and social justice, all those vectors. And I think if they came together in the middle, what would be in the middle is love. Is love. I had to get it out there so that we can understand more about our current high lonesome that Brene Brown talks about in chapter 3 of her book, about our current high lonesome spiritual crisis. And I want to talk about its antidote. How can we address that high lonesome? The mission of the National Unity Social Justice Ministry that is being carried forth and made to happen by our team that's sitting right up here that you're going to hear from in a minute, the mission is to help create a kinder, more loving, and just world, and to engage in acts that help bend the arc of social justice toward love, and to inspire others to engage in acts, to do action of social justice, large or small. And again, we're a national ministry. Last week, we sent out 420 email letters that had working email addresses to every Unity church in the United States, with a link to our website and to our upcoming broadcasts. We've done heavy lifting. This team right here and some others who aren't here that I'm going to honor later have done heavy lifting in planting this ministry over the last 16 months. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be broadcasting on our Social Justice YouTube channel, 2 broadcasts followed by 2 Zoom meetings each month. These broadcasts will be on the 4th Sunday of each month, followed by a broadcast on the 1st Sunday of the following month. The 4th Sunday broadcast is going to be a service comprised of meditation, music, a message about social justice, and prayer. And the 1st Sunday of the next month will be a conversation with someone who has boots on the ground in the area of social justice. After each of these broadcasts, there will be a Zoom meeting so that people can have conversations, and the hope is to inspire and support and, address any hesitations so that we can build a community that way and inspire others to do acts of social justice. Guess when our first broadcast is going to be? Next Sunday. Next Sunday at 3 o'clock. They're always going to be at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And you don't have to remember this. There's going to be a schedule on our page and the website. And you should have each gotten that email with our announcement from our ministry. And if not, we'll send you out one. Or Google UnitySocialJusticeMinistry.org. We'll find a way. Okay, so you don't have to remember it, but you know what I do hope you will do is please show up. The broadcasts are pre-recorded. The Zoom meetings, of course, aren't, because we don't want to deal with that last, say, oh my God, we start in 5 minutes and the microphone doesn't have a battery. We've pre-recorded 3 out of 4 of the first broadcasts, which is 2 months worth. And the first message I was working on for the broadcast, what would usually take me an afternoon or maybe a day to do the message, it took me 5 days. And you know why? I couldn't see anybody when I was looking into a camera. Right now I can see this beloved community. And when we do our broadcasts, I really need to know you're there, and I really would love you to show up in the Zoom meetings. And we have some practical things Victoria's going to announce about how we might do that. I want to say that our ministry team, our social justice team here, is also involved with prison ministry with the Arise Collective, and it's an organization that ministers to all of the women's prisons in North Carolina. 4 of us are Mel, Susie, myself, and Mila have either completed the training or will soon complete the training to go into the prisons and serve there. More about that another time. Last week in her message, Reverend Victoria said that something bigger and good is happening. That in this time of high lonesome, each of us has a purpose. So what are you called to do? What is the call? The spiritual call. It's detailed in your handout, so I'm just going to give you some highlights. You've got it and take it home and look at it. But a spiritual calling is a deep inner sense that you are meant for a specific purpose, often involving service, and it involves personal growth. Boy, have I been stretched sometimes in this. And alignment with a higher power or divine will. In the Native American traditions, each of the compass points, because their nature is their spirituality, each compass point has a teaching. And in one of the paradigms, the teaching of the South is, heart's desire, thy will be done. And what that means is that our heart's deepest desire is also Spirit's, God's desire for us. This call is felt as a personal longing or a conviction to do something meaningful beyond our everyday life. And it often asks us to use our individual gifts and talents. Some of the key aspects are a deep longing, which is different from the high lonesome. High lonesome don't expect an answer to a longing. It's a deep longing. A sense of purpose, or maybe if you don't have that yet, some divine unrest. Because you don't yet know, but you know that you haven't gotten clear, but you know you want it. Inner guidance, like God's nudging you. And I tell you, I can be really stubborn, and sometimes God has to do it a bunch of times, ending with beating me over the head with a board. So, inner guidance, some of us respond more quickly, others don't. An alignment with our true self, of which Brené Brown speaks, and it's action-oriented. Going back to that Micah 6:8, God requires of us to do justice. So I'm going to call up the members of our social justice team that are here, and each of them has responded to the call. On September 29th of 2024, I gave what I'll call a unity version of a Southern Baptist altar call. and these people came up. And people that aren't here include Mila and Judith Schneider and Cheryl Stevens, who's gone on to another adventure, but was seminal in her enthusiasm and being secretary, and so I wanted to honor her as well. We have 3 members of our team here. And my daughter Allie is here with us. She drove down from the mountains of North Carolina to support and celebrate this launch. And she, in a Unity church where she goes some years ago, heard and finally answered a call to become a hospice nurse. So she's going to talk about the question that I gave each of these, and they get 2 sentences. It was a practice in getting to the marrow, is what has it been like in the journey after you answered the call? So I'm going to invite them to come up, and we'll have in spirit those people who aren't here. Now, you're all going to line up in a row, and 2 on either side of this middle right here. And it'll be Mel and Susie, and then Karen. Karen's going to stand, and she's going to... No, you're going to stand right here so nobody has to climb up on the platform. I made arrangements for that. Okay? So, and we'll bring in spirit those members who have helped and aren't here. Mello goes first.
Thank you, Pat. So I really am touched by this ministry, and when I think of the opportunity to serve, and I think service, and what drives me as a person in general. And then I do that, and then this wild joy comes available. And this has been an amazing opportunity to join the social justice ministry team and feel that joy and feel alive again. So it's my place. And also I think of the Bible verse of love thy neighbor as thyself. It's a great opportunity to feel that love and be a part of that. And thank you for that opportunity.
The call comes all at once, or it comes little by little. But it was obvious that when the call came, my answer was, of course, I'd love to fight this fight. And it has been a time of growth and searching and lots of laughter among a community of people who love. Thank you.
Well, I'll just have to be honest and say that my calling was Susie when she said, "Get up here, Karen." And I didn't know quite why or what I was going to do, but I do truly believe in spirituality, the blending of spirituality and social justice. And I think that that's a call for each of us. And what I'd really like to see, I'm getting on up there, just kind of slightly, but I'd love to see younger people in this organization, because this is how we're going to make peace in the world. This is what the monks were about. And that has really made me love that we're part of this. And thank you.
In 2016, from a dark period of a cancer scare, bigamy of my husband, and career malignancy, I received an irrefutable marching order while experiencing a unity message about not hiding your light under a bushel to become a hospice nurse. Like my amazing mom, I listened and trudged the sometimes nearly impossible path to this holy, God-guided destiny for which I and my patients and their families give thanks every day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can be seated. Yeah, some of those two sentences had a lot of ands, but they were great. Yeah, Allie became that hospice nurse. So, before we close, I'm going to invite you to a brief meditation to explore what might be calling you. So, if you'll take a breath, and as you exhale, release anything that might be standing between you and letting yourself sink down into that holy ground of the divine of you. And as you inhale, sink deeper into that heart space and hold it a second. And exhale, sinking deeper into that heart space. And again, inhale. Hold it. You're breathing life into that heart space. And exhale, allowing yourself to sink deeper down in there. And in that stillness, as you allow yourself to be still, ask, what is mine to do? What is mine to do in this critical time when, as Victoria said, something bigger is happening here? And each of us has a purpose. God, Spirit, divine, universe, what is my purpose? To what are you calling me in the silence now? And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. To your life, your rich, joyful, meaningful life, with perhaps some clarity about your call. It may not even come in words, it may come in a feeling, it may come in a, you'll know in a while, but perhaps some clarity of some sort. And what is yours to do? in these times. Thank you.
Hi. If this video has inspired you, opened your heart, expanded your consciousness, filled you with hope, empowered you in some way, we encourage you to support what we offer here at Unity Center of Peace by making your donation now. And thank you.